Well, good evening and welcome back to another wet and wild fishing adventure. I can officially say I am probably the only man out tonight. It is blowing an absolute stinker, but that does not deter me from getting out. It is blowing probably a force 6 to 7 tonight, southwesterly, slightly southerly, and our north coast is still getting battered. It's just somehow finding its way through all of the valleys down into the north coast, but I am on one of our piers on our northeast coast, and I am the only person now who dares come out in this. What I'm going to do tonight is I'm going to fish for squid. I'm going to use something a little bit different though. If I was to use two conventional squid jigs, like a 3.5 or something like that, it'll be like flying a kite. So I'm going to be actually using heavier jigs, much heavier jigs, to get a good feel of my lure, a heavier rod as well. And yeah, 2-jig rig as usual, but yeah, as I say, a big heavy jig on the bottom, just so I can keep contact to it. A lot of people say to me, don't catch squid in the wind and the rain. It's not true. So windy. What am I even doing out here? Got the flat out waterproofs on though, so it's alright. No one else is on the pier tonight. I kind of know why. Got 2 jigs on, one really heavy one to just stay on the bottom. See if there's anything about, eh? Jeez, it's windy. Be blowing a good 50 now, at least. Bro, I'm in some kind of like vortex. Look at the rain, it's like sideways. Squid, yes. First squid of the night. Maybe I am mad, but who cares? There we go. First squid of the night. Didn't take long. Blown an absolute stinker as well. Just shows to come out on these rough nights when no one else is about. 2-jig rig. And like I was just saying before, it's really hard to show you guys. I've got 1 jig which is really heavy. You can see it hasn't got the conventional weight on the bottom, it's got like a jig head, and that keeps it really low on the bottom. And then I've just got like a normal jig head above it. And I am the only man on this pier. No one else is here. No one else is stupid enough to be here. I can actually feel my jig on the bottom. I can feel it buffing its sandy bottom here. I can feel it bombing off the bottom, which is good, because I know that my jigs aren't just floating around, and because of the wind getting blown all over the place, I've got good contact on the actual lure itself. Don't know if you can actually see the rain shooting sideways. Rough. I like to use a heavier jig to maximise my chances even in this rough weather. I was actually squid jigging the other night, and some guy was saying when it's windy you don't catch squid. No mate, when it's windy you do catch squid, you just need to be using the right technique. And to be honest, there's probably only about 8 foot of water below me as well. Tide is on the rise, so hopefully that's going to bring some more squiddy diddlies in. Oh yes, look at the bend on that. Oh, there's another one. Another squid. This one is gone. This time it's fallen to the heavier jig, as you can see on the bottom. A little bit bigger this time. Look at that rain absolutely coming down. And there you go. 2 jigs, 50 mph wind. No one else is stupid enough to be out. Heavy one doing the damage. Wow, it's really gusting now. Wow. Might be gusting, but I've got a third one. As you've seen, I wasn't even doing anything there. This is only a small squid. This is a little party squid. Tiny little party squid, probably the size of my jig. Third one though. It's game time, isn't it? We're catching them. We're catching plenty, to be honest. I didn't expect it to be this good. While I'm having a little water break, a little drink, I'll quickly go through what I'm using. I usually use my 10 root, which is kind of like a 28 gram casting, very finesse kind of rod, get a nice feel to it. 2 jig rig, 2 3.5s, you know, or a smaller one and a bigger one below, get a nice feel on it. But because of the wind tonight, it's really pushing through this area, so I really need to keep my jig on the bottom. So I'm using the 2 jig rig. I've got a rattler on the top, just your normal 3.5. I think this is actually a 2.5. But on the bottom, I've got a jig which has jig head kind of weight in the top, as you can see. That holds bottom nicely. This thing weighs nearly close to 30 grams, so I can get it all the way down to the bottom. Its profile makes it sink really quickly. It doesn't float like your conventional kind of squid jig and flutter down to the bottom like a prawn does, you know, that kind of imitation. This gets right down to the bottom, and as you can see from the squid I've been catching, they're all on the bottom. Good fun, great fun, and that's the key. Heavier rod, but with a little bit of feel. You don't want like a bamboo stick, if you know what I mean, like a pier rod. You want a spinning rod, but it's something a little bit heavier, which you can cast these out, but also have a feel when this is bouncing off the bottom, because that's all I'm doing. It's a sandy bottom, and it's just bouncing off the bottom. The rattle of the rattling jig above gives that little bit of commotion and noise, but this keeps it on the bottom, and this also catches squid. Try one a little bit further. In front of me you can probably hear the waves breaking. There's a reef and there's just a channel. There's a nice post that sticks out here which kind of tells me where the end of the reef is, so I'm fishing a sandy channel here. Oh, I think I've got another one casting all the way out. Really unsure. I've got a big bend on the rod. Usually you would feel a pump, but I'll tell you, it could be just seaweed. It's just seaweed by the looks of it. Oh no, it's a cuttlefish. There you go, look at this. Show must go on. This is amazing fishing. Absolutely amazing fishing. Oh, he just squirted me. You've seen that. Just a cuttlefish this time. Wow, the rain is seriously coming down right now. should really have a little breather, but I've got the waterproofs on, so I think we'll stick at it. Sorry about the glare from my head torch on the rods, but gone for the Stradic today. A little bit heavier in the wind compared to the finessey kind of Tenru that I would usually use for spinning. The rain's coming down, but I've got another squid. That wind's so strong, but the squid are just coming and coming and coming. Oh no. Tentacle. I think I've just hooked another one. I'm not too sure. Yes. See that bend on the rod? Doesn't feel too big, but it's a squid. Or it might be another cuttlefish actually. Yes, it is. Will it stay on? Another cuttlefish. Second cuttlefish of the night. As you can see there, another cuttlefish. That's two. Can't complain. Great bait, great eating as well. That time it went for the heavier jig on the bottom. Well, as I was saying, it's kind of slowed down a little bit. 3 squids, 2 cuttlefish, and I've probably not had anything for about 25 minutes. It's kind of really slowed down. But little tip from me, and I've spoken about this in some of my other videos. This pier has a light. It's not too bright, but it shines down onto the water. What I see so much, yeah, is when I go to places, is people hanging lights over lights, coming down and putting a light down over light. I find the squid actually don't like the light too much. They like to hang around at the edges. Obviously when they're really on it, they'll come in, they'll move in, because that's where usually the prey is, the little sardines and pilchards or whatever they're feeding on the smelt. If you're fishing a place where it's dark, pitch black, that's when I would add a light, if that kind of makes sense. Make those bait fish come in, make those squid kind of want to come in and have a look. But if I'm fishing a place like so, that has a light already, there's just no need to add extra light. That's just my thinking, and that's just how I feel when I'm out squid fishing. Don't add light to light. As you can see, it shines down and kind of lights up a small little area in and around. Just a big loop, as you can see there. You don't need to add anything to that. If you were maybe fishing this side where it's pitch black and you can't really get any of the light from that light, maybe, but for me, you don't need to add any extra light onto that at all. Oh, that wind is so strong. I do have some other jigs which are heavy as well. This would do the job. As you can see, this has got a mounted kind of weight like your conventional just on top, but this is really heavy as well. This will get right down to the bottom. As you can see, it's much different, that weight on top, compared to a normal, which is much thinner, slender. That probably weighs 20 grams less to this one. So yeah, a bit of food for thought. I don't think I have any other heavies in here. Oh yeah, I do. I've got another one just here. Same as the orange one I was using, but in a different colour. It's nice to have different colours, but you can see this has got like a jig head built into it. Absolutely perfect for these kind of conditions. If the orange is not working, sometimes go over to that. That's more of like a smelty colour. It's got a nice glitter to it. But these are silent as well. Same as this one, all silent, just heavy, and do the job on these kind of rough nights compared to any of your other conventional normal jigs that you'd kind of use. These are perfect though to sit on top. Sometimes you could put a silent one on, sometimes you can put a rattling one on, but always have that big heavy on the bottom. You don't want it on the top of your rig, because then your rig will fall weirdly. Obviously the heavy one will fall down to the bottom with your jig up. It's better to have this one on the bottom. So a little bit of food for thought when you are fishing in rough, windier conditions. Well, like I was just saying before I packed up, got a nice little take there. Went a little bit quiet after the very end. Well, went a little bit quiet after all of that come through, but it's a nice little bag, I'd say. Sorry about the rattling car. Perfect.